Early win totals for the 2025 SEC football season are officially here via our friends over at FanDuel. These are my thoughts, reactions, my favorites, and best bets for each of the win totals heading into the 2025 college football season. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn notifications. Check us out via podcast, wherever you get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. The following is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Again, guys, that's FanDuel.com/SECU to get your $300 in bonus bets today. It's never too early to look ahead, and our friends over at FanDuel agree. They've gone ahead and released early season win totals for the 2025 college football season for a few SEC teams out there. Not every single one, but just a few have been released. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to take a look at these, give you my early favorites, my early best bets, maybe some sleepers. Where's the value at as we pull up each of these win totals? Guys, I'm going to run through these first, and then we'll break them all down. Again, these being via our friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook. You can go there right now, bet on these. Make sure you use that promo code SECU, like I mentioned. These are the ones. So they've only got 6 teams available. 6 teams, not 16. 6 are available currently. And as more start to trickle out, we will let you know and update you. But right now, here's what we've got from the fine folks over at FanDuel. These are over-under win totals for the 2025 season. Alabama, 8.5. Florida, 6.5. Georgia, 9.5. LSU, 8.5. Tennessee, 9.5. And Texas, 9.5. Now, when you look at those totals, the one that immediately jumps off the page to me that I would almost lock in right now, like I'm going to go throw a bet on this right now, is Alabama at 8.5. Guys, listen, I'm cautiously optimistic, very cautiously when it comes to Kalen DeBoer. I understand it's not Nick Saban. I understand that Alabama is in a really weird place right now. A lot of people are preying on the downfall, the continued downfall. We're coming off a season unprecedented. Alabama won 9 games, finished with less than double-digit wins for the first time since 2007. But guys, you're giving me 8.5. Are you telling me Alabama's going to go 8-4 in year 2 of Kalen DeBoer? I just don't see it. Even if Alabama does not make the college football playoff again, when you look at their personnel, you look at their roster, what they've got coming back, the quarterback's the big question mark. If Ty Simpson or if it's Austin Mack, I think it's going to be Ty Simpson. If quarterback clicks for Bama, they're going to the college football playoff. But guys, they're not winning less than 9 games. I just don't. They almost won 10. They almost went 10-2, if not for just a unexplainable loss in Norman, Oklahoma. They would have went 10-2. With a quarterback in Jalen Milroe that, as talented as he was not a good fit and was not a guy that I think fit what Kalen DeBoer wants to do there in Tuscaloosa. 8.5 to me, it feels crazy. 8.5 feels crazy. I will damn near guarantee that. Like, hammer. If you got it, hammer and use promo code SECU when you do. Alabama over 8.5 right now. And I know, listen, rosters can change. We understand that. I love Bama over 8.5. I love that right now. I will run to the bank and put as much down as I can on it. Alabama may not be very good. They may not be college football player. They may not make the SEC title. Bama might be on a decline. They might, but they're not going 8-4, guys. Alabama's not going 8-4. I just cannot fathom that. With all they've got returning, they got a lot. I think they've got more back than people realize on both sides of the football. And you're telling me they're going to go 8-4? I don't see it. I don't see it. Guys, LSU at 8.5. That's another one. LSU at 8.5. Boy, if they go 8-4 again, things are going to be really uncomfortable for Brian Kelly. I'll tell you this, though. The 8.5 for LSU, a lot of that is dependent on, do you think they beat Clemson in their season opener? They beat Clemson in their season opener. That over's a lock. I'd damn near say that over's a lock. But they got to beat Clemson in the season opener. Guys, Tennessee 9.5 feels high. I'll admit, it feels high to me. Not saying the Vols can't get back to 10-2. I'm not saying that at all. But I think 10-2 is probably the best case scenario for Tennessee. Looking way too far ahead, looking at their schedule, 10-2 is probably, in my opinion, the best case scenario. Even with a year older and more experienced Nico Iamaleava, still a lot of questions. You lose a lot on defense. You lose Dylan Sampson. You're in a year in which you got to go to the swamp and play Florida. And guys, I'm not saying it's going to happen. But Josh Heupel's had 2 such years during his tenure in Knoxville where they had to go to Florida. You know what his record is in those 2 years in the regular season? 7-5 and 8-4. They've never even sniffed getting to 10 wins, and they've lost to Florida both times, which I think probably makes that, I could argue, the most important game of Tennessee's season. I digress, though. Tennessee 9.5 feels high to me. Tennessee right now feels more like a 9-3 team than a 10-2 team. And again, if they get to 10 wins and they reach their ceiling, you say, hey, you tip your cap to Tennessee. But 9.5 feels high to me. Feels very, very high to me. Florida 6.5. I mean, with DJ Lagway coming back after what they did last year, I think 6.5 you could argue is low. I do. I like the over for Florida. I do. Big year for Billy again, right? Big year for Billy Napier yet again. You got Miami on the schedule. You go to Miami, but, I mean, that's not a home field advantage, so who cares? What's Miami going to be without Cam Ward? That game, I think, is more winnable. 6.5 feels low for Florida. I'd probably go the over there. I'd probably go the over. And then finally, Texas. You got Texas at 9.5. Because of here's the thing. The week 1 matchup at Ohio State is what makes this interesting. Texas didn't have that big non-con. I mean, they had Michigan. Michigan turned out to not be very good, so no blame on Texas there. But this is an absolutely losable non-conference game. I think most are going to be picking Ohio State, reigning national champs, right? Losable, a losable non-conference game. The other challenge for Texas, you go on the road to Georgia. Granted, new quarterback, Gunnar Stockton, different team. Defense has got to reload a lot. We'll see. Tough place to win is Sanford Stadium. Guys, outside of that, it's Texas's 2024 schedule all over again. And let's call it for what it is. Schedule wasn't hard last year. It was manageable. It was as manageable as any in the SEC. Do you think Texas is going to win less than 10 games? I find that hard to believe. I really do. I find that hard to believe right now. I think Arch Manning is going to be a star. I think he's, I think the hype, you don't want to put too much hype on him, but I think the hype's going to be justified. I think he's a big-time ball player. I think he will be a big-time ball player. 9.5 feels low. Not from the stand. I don't know if you set it at 10.5. I don't know if that's the case. I think 9.5 is probably the right number by Vegas. But, I mean, again, I love the over here. I love the over for Texas. I love it. If I got to go one way or the other, I love it. But as you look at these SEC football win totals, my favorites here, guys, right now, and again, more will trickle out. We'll react to them as they do. But right now, what I love, smash the over on Alabama 8.5. That to me is the best bet on this board. That to me is the best bet. If I had to take one bet of these teams, I'm going Alabama over 8.5. Because, guys, Bama's not going 8-4, man. I just don't see it. I just don't. Even if they're not, I'm not saying that might be the floor for Bama. in 2025. So what you're saying is they're going to have their worst possible season. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I really just do not see it for the Crimson Tide. The last one we didn't discuss, by the way, Georgia 9.5. That's probably a stay away for me. Georgia went 10-2. They've got it's the same schedule but flipped. Very difficult schedule yet again. There's going to be some insane home games in Athens. Sanford's going to host some incredible matchups in 2025. So that'll help Georgia, but retooled defense, new quarterback and Gunnar Stockton full-time. You reloaded the wide receiver room, no doubt. But, I think that number's right. I think that's about right. That 9.5 number, I think Vegas nailed it there. I think I'd probably stay away from that one. I'd probably stay away. Because it's still Kirby Smart. And if I'm taking the under, I'm betting against Kirby Smart. And that's not a place that I like to be very often, if ever. So I'd stay away. Again, my favorites here, hammer the over on Alabama, 8.5. And if you're going to take one more, I'd probably go under 9.5 on Tennessee. That feels high to me. That feels high. Again, I think that team's ceiling is probably 10-2. If they reach their ceiling, I'll tip my cap to Josh Heupel and Nico in the rest of that game, Tim Banks and company. But that feels high. I think 8.5 would be a better number for Tennessee than 9.5. So over on Alabama, under on Tennessee. Guys, again, our friends over at FanDuel, the exclusive, and official sportsbook and odds providers of SEC Unfiltered. Guys, FanDuel, from the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel takes the NFL playoffs to the next level because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. Again, that's $300 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Guys, the FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same-game parlays, and so much more. Plus, when you win, you'll get paid instantly. Just visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/SECU. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and up and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and up and present in D.C. First online real money wager only, $5 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Once again, we thank our friends over at FanDuel. And guys, I simply ask you, what are your best bets? What are your sleepers? What are your favorites? What do you like most on the board when it comes to FanDuel's latest odds in regards to win totals for each of these SEC teams for the 2025 college football season? Guys, that's going to do all for me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Again, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast, wherever you get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. Until the next time, guys, I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, and we will catch you on the other side.